Hi guys, hope everyone's doing well. You guys have an exam tomorrow. It is on factoring, solving, quadratic formula, whatever you guys got. So it's going to be a combination of everything. We're going to start with these ones right here. It's just a lot of review. Okay, the only thing new that we went over this week was really the quadratic formula and the discriminant. Which is part of the quadratic formula. So it should not be a problem. If you're here, why is this going funny? There you go. If you're here, put your name in the chat so I can let your teacher know that you guys were here. And let's get started. Okay, so for this one right here, we're going to factor or are we going to solve? Well, there's no equal sign in this one. So our only option is going to be to factor. Okay, that's your only choice is to factor. And we need to factor out the greatest common factor. So we're looking for the GCF. Okay, what's the biggest thing that I can take out of both of these? All right, if you're not sure, you can always do a factor tree to figure it out. This guy right here, I have a 2, a 5, and 3 x's. Right here, I've got a 2, a 7, and 2 x's. So what do they have in common? They have a 2, and they each have 2 x's. So that's what gets to come out. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to take out 2x squared, which takes care of everything there. And then what am I left with? I'm left with 5x here, and I'm left with 7 there. And that's what your answer looks like. Sorry, I'm sitting outside. This helicopter just did a flyby of my house. Okay, so there's the first one. B, factor completely or solve. Again, there's no equal sign in here, so you have to factor. This one's another one you got to factor. Okay? When you factor this one, remember we taught you guys to do the X method, where on top it's A times C, so the A term times the C term, the B term on the bottom. So in this case, our A is equal to 3, our B is equal to 12, our C is equal to negative 10. Multiply them together. I've got 3 times negative 10, that's negative 30. My B's on the bottom. All right, now I need 2 factors of 30 that are going to equal 12. So if you can't come up with them off the top of your head, start writing them down. 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 4 doesn't work, 5 and 6, 7, 8 doesn't work, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, if you don't have anything that works, then your answer would be prime. Okay, if you can't come up with any factors, then your answer is prime. Now, if this had an equal sign, there's no such thing as prime. Okay, with an equal sign, you would have put it into the quadratic formula. Okay, so this guy right here, we're going to call him prime. Let me just check it again, make sure I didn't forget anything. 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 4 doesn't work, 5 and 6 are factors of 30, 7, 8, 9, 10, back there at 10. And so, no, I'm good. Okay, so this guy right here is going to be prime. Okay, C. There is an equal sign. So I need to solve this. I can either solve it by factoring, and then I use the zero product property. Okay, I can factor it, or I can use the quadratic formula. Now, here's a little pro tip for you guys. The quadratic formula works for everything, okay? Any kind of problems like this one, or anything that's got an equal sign in it somewhere, the quadratic formula will work. But sometimes it's just not the fastest. And because I'm not telling you to use a quadratic formula, because I'm not telling you you have to do that, I would always try and factor first. If you're decent at factoring, I would try and factor first. So I've got negative 26 on top, negative 11 on the bottom. Remember, it's A times C on top and B on the bottom. And then my factors are 26. I've got 1 and 26, 2 and 13. That's pretty much it, but 2 and 13 are going to work. And I'm going to make that a negative 13 because 2 times negative 13 is negative 26. 2 plus negative 13 is negative 11. And when I've got that, I'm going to drop my a term. So remember, you always divide out by whatever your a term is. And in this case, it's 1. Okay. So your factors look like this. Your factors are going to be x plus 2, x minus 13 equal 0. Not done yet. Once you have them here and they're equal to 0, you use the zero product property. X minus 2 equals 0. X minus 13 equals 0. Solve your equations. X equals 2. X equals 13. Okay, so your answers are 2 and 13. You would have gotten the same thing in the quadratic formula. I think it would have been a lot more work. If it doesn't tell you to use a quadratic formula, okay, then don't do it. If you can't do it because of it doesn't factor, then obviously you have no choice. But for me, I always like to factor first. Okay. This one here, I've got t cubed minus 8t squared plus 15t. So first things first. With this, I got to get rid of one of those t's. There's too many, I got too many variables going on here. So I'm going to take out a t, and that's going to leave me with t squared minus 8t plus 15. Okay. That is not factored completely. You've taken out the greatest common factor, but you need to see if you can still factor this. So let's try and factor that. Okay, I've got 15 on top, negative 8 on the bottom. My factors of 15 are 1 and 15, 3 and 5. And then let's figure out which one should be negative. In this case, they both should be negative because negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15. Negative 3 plus negative 5 is negative 8. I'm going to drop it right here, my a coefficient, which in this case is still 1. Okay, and I'm going to get t minus 3 equals 0. Well, my factors are t minus 3, t minus 5 equals 0. And I still have that t out there. Okay, that t is just going to go away. It divides out. If I divide that out, it just goes away. So I have t minus 3 equals 0, t minus 5 equals 0, t equals 3, t equals 5. So my factors are 3 and 5. Okay. Down here, there's an equal, oh, you know what? Sorry, my mistake here. This one did not ask us to solve it. Look what I did. Wrong, Ravel. Wrong. Don't do that. Don't do that. Look at me. I'm a magician. Okay? Just kidding. Don't do that. There's no equal sign there. Your answer should be, for this one, you're going to leave it with your factors. It's going to be right there. That's what your answer is. Okay? Don't solve it. It's not meant to be solved. There's no equal sign here. Okay? So don't do that. All right. This one here does have an equal sign, so I am going to solve that. And let's see if I can factor it first. I have negative 2 and positive 3. Okay, are there any factors that I can get a positive 3 and a negative 2? If I have negative 2 and negative 1, I can't do that. So I have 1 and 2. Both positives won't give me that. So this one, I don't think I'm going to be able to factor. So I'm going to have to put that one in the quadratic formula. Okay, so quadratic formula. Let me get a piece of paper here. Quadratic formula, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If you guys have watched enough of these videos, you guys have seen Mr. Arno sing it. If you have Mr. N or me, then I know they taught you the Miss Monaco way, which is the bad boy couldn't decide if he wanted to go to a radical party, or b squared and miss out on 4 awesome chicks, get home at 2 a.m. So, like I said, however you want to remember it is fine. But there's our quadratic formula, and our trinomial is 2x squared plus 3x minus 1 equals 0. Okay, so let's plug in. Let me get rid of some of this so you guys have a cleaner way to look at this. My A is equal to 2, my B is equal to 3, my C is equal to -1. Remember, first step when you want to do these things, you want to make sure that it equals 0. If it doesn't equal 0, you need to make it equal 0. So make sure you've got that one good to go. And let's just plug them in. So remember this one right here, this negative and this negative, these minus signs right here, those are part of the equation. So make sure you guys put them in there correctly. So you've got -3 plus or minus the square root of B is 3, 3 squared minus 4 times A times C, which is -1, all over 2 times 2. Okay, let's see what we got here. This -3 is staying the same, plus or minus the square root of 9, and then I've got 4 times -4 times 2, which is -8, times -1, which gets me +8. So 9 plus 8 over 4. I've got -3 plus or minus rad 17 over 4. Now, here's where you need to be careful. You have to break down that radical if you can break it down. 17, my factors are only 1 and 17. I can't break that down any further. This answer is correct. Okay? You may not see that answer there though. So you need to know how to break it down into 2 answers. Remember, you're going to get 2 answers because that guy right there kind of helps you out, gives you a little clue. When we're here, this just says -3 plus rad 17 over 4. There's one answer. And -3 minus rad 17 over 4. Okay. Sometimes it'll be left together like this. Like I said, this answer on a free response, totally fine, because it covers both. Multiple choice, you may not see that. You may see it like this, broken down. So just be aware that you might have to break it down. Okay, so that was the answer for E. Okay, let's do F. Going back here. I've got 100c squared minus 36y squared. You have to be able to recognize on stuff like this, you have to be able to recognize perfect squares. 136 c squared, y squared, you guys have to be able to see those. No equal sign. So your answer is going to be in factors. Okay, your answer is going to be in a factor. Perfect square for 100. Okay, let's do it this way. Let's put up our factors. Okay, perfect square for 100, 10, and 10. For c squared is c and c. Let's forget about our signs right now. 36 is 6 and 6, and y squared is y and y. And when you're completing the difference of two squares, your signs are always going to be one positive, one negative. So one positive, one negative, and again, it does not matter which way you write it. Writing it the other way is fine too when you're multiplying. Okay? And I'm sure you guys have already heard, but I would steer clear of photomath because it makes your answers look like you're in first grade. Don't do that. Okay. X squared minus 2x minus 7 equals 0. We're solving. Okay, this one we need to solve. We can try factoring it first. Let's do that first. I've got -7 and -2. My only factors are 1 and 7. There's no way I can do that. So my only choice for this problem is the quadratic formula right now. Because we haven't taught you other ways. But so right now, your only choice is the quadratic formula. Okay, let's do that here. Again, there's your quadratic formula. Let's identify our A, B, and C. I always think that that's the easiest way to do it to make less mistakes. A is equal to 1, B is equal to -2, C is equal to -7. Okay, so let's start plugging them in. I've got minus a -2, okay, because -2 is here, but that minus is part of the equation. Plus or minus the square root of -2 squared minus 4 times 1 times -7 all over 2 times 1. This becomes +2. Plus or minus the square root of 4. And then I've got negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. And then that's a negative 7. So that's positive 28 all over 2. Add 2 plus or minus the square root of 32 over 2. Okay. Again, you have to break down that radical. So let's take a minute and break down that radical. I have rad 32. Okay, rad 32. It doesn't matter which way you start. Start with whatever numbers you can do the easiest. If it's 2 because you know it's even, that's fine. If not, if you think it's 4 and 8, you can do 4 and 8. 2 and 2, 2 and 4, 2 and 2. You've got 2 pairs of 2s. You've got, grab another color here. You've got this guy stuck underneath. So this is going to be 4 rad 2. Okay, all that just to get there. So let's bring it over here and finish it. I've got 2 plus or minus 4 rad 2 all over 2. Okay. You may not see this answer, okay, because this answer still isn't simplified. You can still simplify all these things out here. You can't touch this. This is by itself. Think of it like, can't touch it like MC Hammer. But this guy has to stay by itself. Don't mess with whatever's in the radical. You already dealt with it. You already did all the work for the radical over here. Don't mess with it again. But this you can actually do stuff with. And I can divide everything by 2. So it's going to give me 1 plus or minus 2 rad 2 over 1. Again, that 1, I know you don't need to have it. If you write it there, obviously it's not wrong. If you're looking for a multiple choice, that 1 is not going to be there. Okay, so your answers can be written 1 plus 2 rad 2, 1 minus 2 rad 2. Okay, and those are your answers. This is all for G. I'll get another sheet of paper so we can do, so we can work on H. I gotta find more paper. Okay, so let's do H, our last one. I'm gonna write it on its own up here. It is 3x squared plus 4x equals negative 1. Get that paper out of here. First things first, you got to get that 1 over here, okay? Got to move that 1. So we're going to add 1 to both sides. 3x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals 0. You're going to be solving. So your choices are either factoring it or quadratic formula. If you write it as much as I do, you probably will memorize it. So just keep writing it over and over, and then it'll serve you well, especially when you get to Algebra 2 and you're stuck solving quadratics. Okay, so I can try factoring first. I have a times c on top, that's 3. B on the bottom is 4. Looks like I'm in luck here. My factors are 3 and 1. Be great if you guys could see that. There you go. Zoom out a minute. There you go. I'm going to drop my a term, and that's going to reduce to 1. So I get x plus 1, 3x plus 1, and that is equal to 0. There was an equal sign in my original. 0 product property, and solve your equations. You guys are good at this part. So your answers would be negative 1 and the negative 1/3. Okay. So again, if you're not good at factoring, okay, let's just say you're not good at it, you didn't get it, it's not your favorite thing. Factoring is a shortcut. You could have easily used the quadratic formula and gotten the same answer. So it's whatever works for you. Go off of whatever your strengths are. Okay, let's do this. No real solutions, one real solution, two real solutions. What are we asking for when you see something like this? Hopefully you guys know it. You're looking for the discriminant. Okay, you're looking for the discriminant. You do not want to put all of these in the quadratic formula to figure that out. Okay? No bueno. Don't do that. Okay? You're going to want to use a discriminant. So you have a couple of ways of doing that. When you do that, it's part of the quadratic formula. So if you, let's say you forget what the discriminant is, but you know what the quadratic formula is, this part right here is a discriminant. It's not asking us what the discriminant is. It just wants to know the number of solutions it has. And the discriminant is going to tell us that. So just remember, you guys, if the discriminant is positive, if it's positive, then there are two real solutions. Okay, positive discriminant, two real solutions. Negative discriminant, no real solutions. Okay, and a 0 for your discriminant, 0, you get one real solution. That's what you're looking for on here. So all you're looking for is to solve this little piece, figure out if it's positive, negative, or 0, and then you will be able to figure out your solutions. Okay, so let's take the first one. My A is equal to 1, my B is equal to 2, my C is equal to -1. Let's plug it in here. We're not taking the square root. We're not doing anything. All we need to do is see if this comes out positive or negative or 0. So I've got B squared. So that gives me 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times -1. Okay, so I've got 4 minus, or 4, let's see, I've got -4 times 1 is -4, times -1 is +4. So I've got 4 plus 4, which equals 8. It is positive, two real solutions. Okay, careful with these negatives, because if you would have subtracted them, like you would have made it a 0, so you got one real one. So this one's two real solutions. Okay, this one, my A is equal to 1, my B is equal to 1, my C is equal to 2. All right, so I've got 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times 2. That gets me 1. I've got -4 times 1 is -4 times 2 is equal to -8. 1 minus 8 equals -7. My discriminant's negative. No real solutions. Okay. This one here is fun. Okay, I'm going to show you guys how to do this the long way. If you can figure it out the short way, then good for you. But I can show you guys how to do this the long way. This is x minus 2, x minus 2. So we have x minus 2, x minus 2. Okay, you can FOIL that out. Sorry, wrong way. You can FOIL that out, and you're going to get x squared minus 4x plus 4. Okay, let's plug this into the discriminant and see what we get. So my A is equal to 1, my B is equal to -4, and my C is equal to 4. Okay, remember I just did that and I FOILed it out. So this one right here, B squared, I've got -4 squared minus 4 times A, which is 1, times C, which is 4. Okay, I've got positive 16. This becomes -4 times 4, which is -16. You got 16 minus 16, which equals 0. That's one real solution. Okay, one real solution. Now, if you saw the shortcut to that, you guys probably could have figured it out quickly on your own, but there's a long way to do it. If you guys know the shortcut, good for you. Okay, last one, x squared. Okay, so my A is equal to 1, my B is equal to 0, my C is equal to 0. You're unsure? Plug it in here if you don't see it right away. Okay, B squared, 0 squared minus 4 times 1 times 0. I have 0 minus 0, which equals 0. 0 means I get one real solution. Okay? So again, all of that is discriminant. Okay, down here, a little bit of true and false, a little bit of review. This one has two real solutions. Oh my God, we just did a bunch of those. So again, just looking for the discriminant. And so my my A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2, C is equal to negative 4. B squared minus 4AC for this one. 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 4. Okay. I've got 4. And then when I've got this guy right here, that's negative 4 times negative 4, which is positive 16. So 4 plus 16 equals 20. It's positive. It has two real solutions. That is true. The square root of 36 is rational. The square root of 36 is 6. You can write 6 as a fraction. Okay, it's 6 over 1. So that is true. Y equals x times a quantity, x squared plus x plus 3 has a degree of 2. Well, we got to distribute that out. So when I distribute that out, that gets me x cubed plus x squared plus 3x. That has a degree of 2? No, it does not. The highest one is 3. So this one right here is false. And then negative 1, 2 is a solution. The only way to look at that is literally to plug it in and try. So we plug in negative 1 for x, 2 for y. So I'm going to have 2 times 2 plus a negative 1 is less than 3. 4 minus 1 is less than 3. 3 is less than 3. Not true. Okay, so this guy right here is false. The way this one could be true is if you had the equal to. You would need the less than or equal to sign. Otherwise, that one doesn't work. Okay? And last but not least, breaking down radicals. These were on your quizzes. They're going to be on your test. So let's break these down, see what you guys got. For 20, we have 2 and 10 and 2 and 5. I have a pair of 2s, and I have this guy stuck inside. So that guy comes out, and whatever's on the outside, remember you multiply, so that's going to be 4 on the outside because it's 2 times 2, and then rad 5. He's stuck on the inside. When you have a negative on the inside of the rad, okay, so look at the difference between this one. This is negative square root of 40. This is the square root of negative 40. For you guys right now, okay, this is going to have, this is going to be a can't be simplified because we are not doing irrational numbers, okay? We're not doing those right now, so you don't have to worry about this. If the negative's on the inside, negatives on the outside, fair game, okay? We've got 4 and 10, 2 and 2, 2 and 5. I have a pair of 2s. Looks like these guys right here are stuck. That 2 and the 5 are stuck. So he's coming out. I'm going to have negative 2 on the outside because the negative's already there. Rad 2 times 5 is 10. So there's my answer for that. Oh, look, a perfect square. Hopefully you guys can see that that is 10. If you don't, you know, 10 times 10 is 100. You have a pair of 10s and it comes out. If you didn't see it there, you can break it down 2 and 5, 2 and 5. You have a pair of 2s, a pair of 5s. It comes out 2 times 5 is equal to 10. Okay. And our last one, -6 rad 27. Again, the negative is on the outside. It is fair game. Breaking down that 27, I'm going to break that down as 3 and 9. Break that one down as 3 and 3. I have a pair of 3s that are going to come out. That guy is stuck underneath. He doesn't have a partner to come out with. Anything I take out gets multiplied. So that's going to be -18 rad 3. And that is that, my friends. If you have any questions, put it in the chat right now. If you want me to do any other problems, let me know. If you have any requests, I can do that. Otherwise, make sure your name was in the chat so that I can let your teacher know that you guys were here. And Nune, I'll let myself know that you were here. So, winner. Okay. All right. So if there are no questions, good luck on your exam tomorrow. And I think you guys are going to do great. Remember, the only couple new things, discriminant, and then factor or solve. Okay? And use the quadratic formula when you can't factor it and you need to solve it. All right. Good night, guys.